Playoff picture is a lot clearer this morning, especially at the top of the AFC. Hope you had a great weekend. We're in our newsroom in Los Angeles. My name is Andrew Siliciano. This is NFL Now. Remember how last week we said we'd love to see the Niners and Ravens play again in Miami in January? I'd love to see the 49ers and Saints play again in January. I don't care where that game was or is. The game was in New Orleans, however. Let's get to the highlight from yesterday on what maybe, I don't know how you make a better game of the year than this. Pick it up in the second quarter. Jimmy Garoppolo to Emmanuel Sanders, 75-yard touchdown. He fell down, he got up. Now, a lot of people thought you could have had OPI here. A lot of people thought maybe Sanders was down, right? He wasn't down. Next possession. It's a 13-point game. We already have 41 points on the board with 6 minutes left in the second quarter. Emmanuel Sanders throws the touchdown, this time to Raheem Mostert, the 35-yard score. Let's go to the fourth quarter. It's now 42-33. Niners have the lead when Drew Brees hits Michael Thomas, who had another fantastic game. How about 11 for $134 and a touchdown? Back and forth, these two teams would go like two heavyweight fighters when Traquan Smith breaks a tackle, spins out of another one, and with under a minute to go, Traquan Smith gives the Saints the lead. They went for two, didn't get the two. So the Niners get it back. Here's what they do. It is 4th and 2, and this will be talked about and replayed for years to come. Just call it the George Kittle play. On 4th down, they go for it, and Kittle, with Marcus Williams tugging on his face mask, takes him for a ride. You add the 15-yard penalty, and you set up Robbie Gould, and Robbie Gould nails it. It is an instant classic, 48-46.
It's good for our team. We win different ways every week. I feel like I say the same thing every week to you guys, but it's just that's what a good football team does. You find a way to win tough games like this, whatever it may be. I think our guys are built for anything, though, and handling the environment and everything, it was pretty loud out there, but I thought we did well with it.
We're better than what we put out there today, and I'm just talking about us offensively. We had chances to score more, and you feel the flow of a game like this, and you got to score, and man, you've got to execute to perfection, and we weren't quite there. Did a lot of good things, but just not quite enough.
Listen, you're talking to me right after a tough loss, so are you telling me how I'm supposed to feel? All right, I don't feel encouraged. All right, I feel frustrated because we had opportunities earlier in the game offensively to take advantage of field position. We had a number of opportunities. We had missed assignments, so no, I'm not encouraged that way.
Game of the year. Steve Wyche was there, nodding his head, hands down. We're not going to talk about the officiating. I thought Emmanuel Sanders may be pushed off, but regardless, that was in the first half. We had a second half that made everyone forget about the first half. And Garoppolo, Steve, throws 4 touchdown passes for the 3rd time this year. I think he has shut everyone up now.
Yeah, he has. Look, he's been the biggest question that, when you talk to people about the 49ers, yeah, their defense is good. Their run game is good. They got a good offensive line. But it's just Jimmy G. And that is because, the Niners really have not asked him to win a ball game because of all those other things I just talked about. Well, yesterday, this game was on him. And not only did he show poise on that spectacular drive with less than a minute left at the end of the game, but let's walk it back to the end of the first half. There's 4 minutes left. They're down 27-21. He leads them on an 80-yard scoring drive to give them the lead after a back-and-forth first half, which the Saints actually dominated. Okay, so that's it. Okay, Jimmy G's rolling. But then the beginning of the second half, the offense gets stumped a little bit. They get a turnover. They score on a Kittle touchdown. And now Jimmy G is back in a groove. So then you spoke to teammates after the game. And I said, forget about necessarily how he performed in this game, but what does that mean moving forward? And they all, to a person, said, this means we know we can rely on him. If we get into this type of game again, Jimmy G can step up. The poise he showed and the production and accuracy he showed and the way to manage a tough road crowd, those were all things that really rang the bell with the teammates about how much they can rely on a player who's been questioned a lot this season despite the team's record.
We could sit here and actually question both teams' defenses, right, with 94 points scored in that game. I think we all agree we'd love to see that game again. And right now, the Niners have the upper hand because they went on the road and they won the head-to-head, and they did so in New Orleans. It's not going to get easier, though, for the 49ers. For the second time this year, they stay on the road, and it pays a dividend. They win in New Orleans. Now they come back home. And you think the Falcons game, Steve, is a trap game?
Well, look, when you look at what they've just got, look, they've just played the Packers. They have just played the Ravens, and they have just played the Saints. You look at the Falcons, they should beat the Falcons, right? We're all saying they should beat the Falcons, but they've got to beware because up next are the Rams and the Seahawks, 2 division games that they have to win if they want to win the division and keep this top seed. So they better beware of the Falcons. But the one thing that we've seen from this Niners team, this is a team that lost a lot of ball games. But having veterans like Richard Sherman and Emmanuel Sanders and Joe Staley and even Jimmy G, who's been part of championship teams, that can help gird them and get them in the right mindset for this type of stretch so they don't step on a banana peel like a team against the Falcons. So this could be a really good scenario the way they're rolling. The NFC teams, there's always one team that catches fire all season long. We saw it with the Rams last year. Very much looks like to be the 49ers this season.
The Niners get to 11 wins, 11-2. The Saints fall to 10-3. We'll throw the standings up in a couple of seconds here, but the 49ers get a huge win on the road with January implications. Thank you, Steve, in New Orleans. More on those standings again in a second, but know this, the Seahawks are, well, they had a shot here. They came into L.A. trying to sweep the Rams. They came into L.A. with the Rams 1 game back of the Bears for the NFC wild card. I'm sorry, for the Vikings for the NFC wild card. And the Rams just came out and they kept going with what they did last week against Arizona. Look at that stiff arm. No me lleva Flores. Todd Gurley throwing down Trey Flowers, 28-12.
We always play Seattle good. They play us good, man. And it was Sunday night. You know, we don't really have a choice right now, man. We just got to come out here, give it our all. Coach came with a great game plan. Defense did their job. It was a good team effort. And most importantly, we came out, you know, striking first and put some points on the board, and we was able to sustain.
You mentioned not having a choice. Are you guys in playoff mode right now?
I mean, we don't really have a choice, man. Like I said, it's either that or go home, and, you know, we just need to focus on us, keep winning these NFC games. We got Dallas next week, you know, some great opponents after that, but just try to focus on each day at a time.
And that game is in Dallas. I got a little tongue-tied here. Here are what the standings look like. The Niners are back at 1. They go from 5 back up to 1. The Packers go to 2. The Saints are the only team of the NFC that is in the NFC South champions. They are back to the 3. And the Rams are sitting there at 8-5. It would have been nice if the Lions had beaten the Vikings. That did not happen. Omar Ruiz, who was at the Rams game at the Coliseum, maybe their last primetime night game at the Coliseum, certainly looks that way. The defense, look, Jared Goff and Todd Gurley and Sean McVay, that offense was humming yesterday. But let's talk about this defense. You take the Ravens game out of it, this defense has been at times carrying them.
Yeah, taking out that Ravens game, averaging only 10 points given up since Jalen Ramsey arrived. And what Sean McVay talked about is that sense of urgency. Every time the Seahawks looked poised to make a run after they intercepted Jared Goff for the second time in as many series after they blocked a field goal, the Rams defense responded by forcing the Seahawks to punt and not carry any of that momentum over. One of the players that Sean McVay highlighted was Troy Hill. What a story he's been. Going back to the St. Louis days for the Rams, playing alongside Janoris Jenkins and Tremaine Johnson, of course, with Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters. Hill had the game-sealing interception last night. He told me what he's learned in being patient, waiting for his opportunity after all these years, is learning from those great players, the ball-hawking aggressiveness of Marcus Peters, learning how to think on the back end like Eric Weddle, and he's using that, and they've relied upon him in a big way, because Jalen Ramsey's only getting 1 or 2 targets per game. So a lot falls on Troy Hill's plate. His coaches has expressed confidence in him, and he's responded. They'll know they'll continue to rely upon him down the stretch.
All right, what about the takeaway, Omar, from the Seattle sideline here? The Niners won earlier in the day, and the Seahawks couldn't keep pace.
Certainly no panic in the Seahawks, but one soundbite that kept catching my ear after the game was the Seahawks saying they didn't match the intensity of the more desperate Rams, something you rarely hear from the Seahawks. I asked Russell Wilson about that. He says it wasn't about the intensity, it was more about the lack of execution, failing to pick up critical third downs, fourth downs. I asked Dwayne Brown about playing now the Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals next couple weeks, teams who seemingly don't have anything to play for now. Dwayne Brown said they have everything to play for. The Seahawks do. Everything is still in front of them. Of course, if they go into that 49ers game within one game of San Francisco, they certainly control their opportunity for the division and a bye in the playoffs there. So Seahawks certainly using this as a learning lesson to carry this down the stretch.
All right, Seahawks still looking good. However, they split with the Rams. Rams could have beaten them Week 5. Greg Zuerlein pushed that field goal a little bit wide as time expired. Thank you, Omar Ruiz. I tell you what, Jared Goff, though, was dealing last night. Looked like the guy that last year led the Rams to 13 wins and threw for nearly 5,000 yards. Last 2 games, and I know that last week was against the Cardinals, but Brian Baldinger, time for a Baldy breakdown. Jared Goff and the run game with the jet sweeps and all that. They were going yesterday. They rarely got to third down, but when they did, they kept it going.
Well, they had a high percentage, over 50% completion on third down. It started early. You heard Todd Gurley after the game say it helped that they got off to a fast start for a change. And I thought converting third downs like this one here to Robert Woods, he's going to come off what we call a flanker drive, come right off the tail of Higbee here, and then he's going to have a 3-man moving screen coming right at him. So on this play here, 3rd and 4, he's going to get Trey Flowers, who's in coverage on him, is going to get rubbed, and it's going to be an easy completion here. And then a great run after the catch for Robert Woods, and they pick up that first down. Then later in the drive, they get the same situation. It's now 3rd and 9, and here you have Brandon Cooks right here. He's going to be the bubble screen guy. They're going to fake it to him, and up top, watch Shaq Griffin. He just flinches for a second, allowed Higbee to get by him, and that's the pass you're talking about right there from Jared Goff. He threw a strike, a laser into that hole, and right before the end of the half, Cooper Kupp came in motion. Nobody moved from Seattle. Pretty good indicator they're going to be in zone coverage, and that's what they were. And Cooper Kupp just hooked up right behind the zone right there. Big void in the middle of the end zone. That was a big play, and here it is, the same play, Andrew. You're going to see Jared Goff's going to have a nice, clean view, excellent protection right here. You're going to have the underneath defender, and then here comes Kupp behind him. 3rd down, it's his favorite target right there. That put him up, 21 points there at the half. I just thought their 3rd downs, especially in that first half, being able to sustain offense, stay on the field, keep it away from Seattle where they couldn't get that, that real good ground game going last night was a big part of their success.
Rams were 7